About to make it happen here.
Grand Rising, everybody. How y'all doing today?
All
Hey,
right, hey, we're gonna start off with you before we get to anything. But actually, let me do this. Let me get us into the show. Once again, people, welcome to another episode of Morning Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream. I've already introed myself and beautiful Jay. I will save our guest for just a second. Here, once again, it's not about differences. It's simply about people being able to share thoughts and opinions, and hopefully without judgment. I know some of that kicks in every now and then, but let's keep it to a minimum. What matters is your perspective. Once again, what you think, how you feel, how you see. Remember, because we all don't see it the same. Please, no vulgar language or disparaging marks. The point of it is, once again, now it's just to hop into it. So let me do this. Quote that we're using, first of all, is the hardest prison to escape is your mind. Now, I know it to be a quote by Bob Marley, but also I think there is an additional quote with additional wording by Edith Ever. And in short, this is part two of what we started out on last week. And we're going to finish it up and go a little bit deeper into it today. And so, as I already said, and I want to repeat this one more time, the hardest prison to escape is your mind. What are we diving into just a little bit for conversation? Is a little bit about victimization, self victimization. And one of the things we want to be able to do here is to simply inspire and motivate people, and sometimes to just draw a point to be able to look in the mirror sometimes and realize you're not inspired, you're not motivated, you don't have that relaxation in your life because you may be the reason. That's it. All right, with that being said, no further ado, I'm going to intro our guest and let him tell a little bit about himself before we really get into it. So, as you see, we are on Morning Coffee, and we have no other, no one other here other than Morning Coffee. Go ahead, my man.
Grand Rising, everyone. I go by Morning Coffee on tag. I am a 10 and a half year combat veteran from the United States Army, retired staff sergeant. I hold 5 trades, 4 of them in the STEM realm. So I actually do teach STEM. I've had 2 programs here in Houston and an automotive shop in Killeen, Texas, that I held for 2 years. Currently, building the process of being able to build the land in El Paso, Texas, to be able to get a Black community there that is fully funded and self-sufficient within itself to create our own town, much like Africa Town in Alabama, for those of you who may know about that. So that's just a little bit about my background.
All right, people. And the fact that he is how would I say it? An awesome person to, should I say, bounce ideas around and have those conversations of the brain. Actually, the name that I call him most of the time is the brain.
Mhm.
Right. Beautiful Jay. Beautiful Jay. If you could go ahead and warm us up here, we'll go ahead and get started.
Okay, yeah, like you said, we doing the second portion of this, and it was so funny. My guy yesterday gave me a bunch of quotes that he did, and they said, uh, "Beautiful, taking your option is an option," and he was saying things like, "Spoiling yourself is not a bad. You're not a bad person, and it's not selfish. It's just called self care." So I thought that was like really, really cool. And he's asked again, "Are you living? Or are you just existing?"
Mm.
And he said, never stop a good man from working because be careful of sharing your attention. It was just like different things he was placing in. I was like, man, these are deep. I'm going to use these tomorrow. And he was like, yeah. So, yeah, just speaking back on it again, um, people need to stop doing that victimization. You know what I mean? And look, as y'all see, we all got military people up in here today. You know what I'm saying? But, Navy's the best because, we need that water. We need that water. But,
I say
we love
who?
you
I'm gonna go
too.
ahead and
We
let
love you
y'all
too.
have
We
that.
love
I
you
say
too.
who?
We love you too. We love you too. Period. Yeah. We got a military section up here today, but we all civilians now, though. Just
Facts.
saying.
Hey, that's a
So we
big
got the
fact.
brains up in here. Period. But
Check this out.
Yeah.
Go
So we
ahead.
just, like I said, we talked about last time about people up there playing the victim. Stop playing the victim. You know what I'm saying? Look at a situation. If something's not good, don't stay inside of it. And at the same time, don't relish in the situation of enjoying being a victim, because you have to keep in mind, sometimes people are a victim for a reason. They like the extra attention by being a victim. So, yeah, let's get in.
So let's draw a point to what type of victim we're talking about. And I'm about to direct this to you, Moor'ning. We're talking about self-victimization, the person that makes themselves a victim. And as we clearly defined last week, there can be all types of victims, but we're not talking about a person that's an actual victim of something. Well, actually, here, you know what I did? I took the time. I wanted to kind of read this off right quick. And then, Moor'ning, I'm going to let you get in here. So first of all, let's define what a victim is before we even get into self-victimization. Now, a victim is someone, and I'm going to read the verbatim dictionary here, if you don't mind. I went ahead and looked it up that way. A person that is harmed, injured, or it said it could be killed as a result of a crime, accident, or event or action. So first of all, someone has been harmed some way. Okay, period. Someone that has been harmed, that is a victim, especially when it's done by someone else, or just the fact that something has happened to that person. That makes you a victim. Now, to go a little bit deeper, I wanted to look up, self-victimization as well, and I'd identify a little bit about that. So, in sense, it's a matter of just it says this, and this is the Wikipedia, so this is not a dictionary, but it says Wikipedia. It says playing the victim, also known as victim playing, victim card, or self victimization, is the fabrication or exaggeration of victimhood for a variety of reasons. No, so in a sense, it comes down to abuse, to manipulation, coping as a strategy, and attention seeking or diffusion of responsibility. Diffusion of responsibility. So now we're going to get into it because I think we did all the breakdown we need to do. Once again, for those just entering Morning Coffee, no sugar, no string. No cream. Let me say this. I'm reading the topic once more again, the quote that we're using. And the quote is, the hardest prison to escape is your mind. All right. Morning Coffee, we're going to let you hop in there and break some of this down for us.
So I first wanted to, and thank you once again for having me, Brother CD. Um, I first wanted to join in with a verse that we all can reference, right? So I went ahead and typed it down there in the comments, John 5, verse 6-8, will thou be made whole? And in the scripture, it says that there's a man that is sitting in his lament. He's sitting in the circumstances of his life that were given to him. And he is just sitting there waiting to die. But he's complaining about the fact that he can't live. And God comes to him and says, will thou be made whole? Do you want to be healed, first of all? And I think it goes back to what Beautiful Jay was saying, if I may caveat off of that. A lot of people benefit more off of being the victim than they do if they actually overcome it. Because once you overcome the hurdle, maybe some of your smaller steps don't seem as big. You see what I'm saying? It's one thing to be a victim of circumstance and people know what happened to you, and you use that. For instance, when I first came back from Afghanistan, my PTSD had gotten worse. I'd already been through 2 other tours. I was infantry during the first 2, and a lot of things happened. Because of that, I chose to drink, right? My drinking would put me in a dark space to where it was able to allow me to fall asleep and not be in my victim mode, but that was my excuse for why I drank so much. See what I'm saying? It wasn't until I decided through circumstance, wait a minute, this isn't what's best for me. I have to be able to walk out of this because I can't continue to use what happened then for me to do something worse to myself, which is to continue to drink. So I'm continuing to drink. I'm getting into altercations. My life is going down even worse. And I'm depressed because I think it's about what happened back in Iraq and Afghanistan, when really it's about the alcohol and me staying in that position right now. I never chose to move forward. So it took a while. And I think sometimes a lot of us, we get caught in our circumstance, we get caught in what happens to us throughout life and whatever may come our way. And because other people are like, you know what, I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you this opportunity. I'm going to take it easy on you. I'm going to excuse some of your bad behavior because he wasn't raised by his daddy. I'm going to excuse some of your bad behavior because, well, when she was growing up, this and that happened to her. And we stay in that victimhood because what does it look like for me to get to the other side?
Beautiful Jay.
Man, I love that right there. And I love how we sharing. So that's a good thing, sharing different things and stuff. See, because a lot of people don't want to share who they are. Um, I love that you shared your PTSD because I got PTSD as well. And I've tell people that I'm not defined by my disability. So yeah, not being to stay in that victim stance. I was in foster care. You know what I mean? My mom was a cocaine connoisseur. So if you look at it, they'll be like giving you reasons. I've never stayed inside of that. I've always continued to be a motivator, overachiever, as you might say. And I never did like when they try to say things like, oh, that happened because it's this. No, no. I'm a real, just like you, I'm a real person that can show that I'm not defined by my situation. Don't stay inside of that because you can always improve. So I love that you shared that. Yeah. And I think that that's really messed up that people tend to do that because nobody defines you except you. So if you make yourself a victim, then people gonna keep looking at you like a victim. If you make yourself weak, then you're gonna be weak. We strong. Army strong, Navy strong, civilian strong.
Civilian
Period.
strong.
Let's not
Look,
be
hey,
no
look,
victim.
God
Period.
strong. Let's just say that. We're God strong. You know what I'm
But
saying?
let me draw
Put
a
it
note
that
to
way.
something that he said that I thought was, again, one of those, it draws that exclamation point over my head, and it's like, ooh. The point that he was, he identified some of the same things that we were talking about in the description of self-victimization. And the point he made was sometimes in life, when you when you can play the victim card or use it, you get a pass.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Now, let me draw this to a perspective of which some of us may all be familiar with here or not. And for instance, this is an app. Some of us know it as a dating app. Some of us just know it as a streaming app, entertainment, source of income, all the above, or just to hang out, friends, you understand. But how about here, you understand, whether it be male or female, you understand that sometimes in, the approach of a relationship, you make yourself the victim. Imagine when you relate to someone, you understand, approaching a relationship, that you've been the victim in your relationship by your spouse. You understand? Your spouse was as horrible as they could be. You understand? They treated you the worst.
Come on.
And you understand they've taken your children away from you, whether it be man, it happens to women too.
Mhm.
Catch what I'm saying? All these things that they did not love you, they did not care about you. My point in saying that is this victim card can come in so many different ways that we don't always pay attention to it. But now I like the fact that he made note that you can be given a pass if you are the victim with some people. Now, it may not happen with everyone, it may not work with everyone, but the fact that you can be given a pass. So, has Emmett, I can relate to this. I can relate to this because I think we all at one point or another may have experienced it. I can honestly say I can relate to an instance where I felt like, I was the victim and then had to realize, oh, I'm making myself to be a victim in life. And what do you do differently? You understand? Should you find yourself in that situation and you want to change it or do something different?
I got a
Yeah, I
video.
mean, like you said, you just got to change. You got to just choose, or my favorite, catch it, check it, change it.
Yeah.
If you catch yourself thinking that you want to stay in this victim mode, first of all, if you stay in that victim mode, it's going to lead to depression. You know what I mean? It's gonna be in
Mhm.
depression. So, oh, you trying to show off? Look what I got. Look what I got. Period. I ain't got my mug, but yeah, I see you there. Y'all see you there. Nah,
Facts, facts.
here with me. No,
Merch.
anyway. No, see, that's not staying that victim mode. Like I said, that's what's gonna put you down. You're gonna stay inside that mindset when you keep staying up in there. You know what I mean? So you gotta change. You gotta catch it, check it, change it. You gotta catch yourself, say, damn, I'm playing the victim. Oh, damn, I'm sad. Okay, if I continue to do this way, I'm gonna be all sad and depressed. Or I can go this way and make a change. So catch it, check it, change it, and go ahead and make that change. Don't stay no victim. Don't sit there and make yourself feel worse than it is. Because we make ourselves feel we are our worst critic and we can make ourselves feel worse than anybody else. Even if you was being beat up or whatever, change it.
Yeah.
Don't let yourself be a victim.
I wondered, how do people come to the realization? See, that's one of the things I question sometimes. You know, when people are in a situation, they can't see it. You know what I mean? It's like someone trying to tell you something about your situation, but you're too close to it. And because you're so close or personally involved, you cannot see it.
Mhm.
What were you trying to say there, Morning Coffee?
Brother City, if I may, I've got a video clip queued up on that exact topic, if that's okay. Give me just 1 second.
So he said he already queued up.
Ralph, you flex your fingers. STOP. Stay calm, think, observe, and plan.
If you hit the rock below you, you'll die from blood first trauma. Or internal bleeding from massive bone fracturing. Or splenic infection of the large intestine.
Yes, thank you, Sarge.
I can't, my hand.
There's no cavalry. No one will magically appear and save you in the end. Almost. You got it. Good boy.
Hot.
All right, let's go.
That's it.
All right, people. I'd like to thank you all for joining Morning Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream.
Sorry about that.
That's the show for today. We're going to wrap it up.
Oh,
Everything
no.
has been broken down. No, I'm messing with you.
Hey, look, I'm like, no, that wasn't my intent.
That was no. That was a really nice clip, man.
So that
Like, what more needs to be said?
it is.
Go ahead, continue.
You really have to give yourself permission to be a victim. Think about it. You have to give yourself permission to be a victim, because the moment that his father said, there is no Calvary, no one's coming to save you, his mind changed. Will thou be healed? His mind changed and he said, I got to get myself out of this. You feel what I'm saying? I have to be able to walk myself out of this. Unfortunately, some people get stuck in believing that there's a magical Calvary that's just coming to save them, and they're going to pull them out of the situation. But the work is on you first. The work is first on you to change your mind and say, you know what? I want to be able to be awake at night and be able to shut my body down at a certain time. So instead of drinking myself to sleep, I'm going to go ahead and get on these meds that they've been told me I needed. Let me go ahead and put that in my system so I can get myself right. When I get through therapy and I can deal with some of these nightmares that have been haunting me, I can get through the therapy of it. And then I don't have that on my brain before I go to sleep. I can change my behavior and heal myself from within, and then continue to be able to push it out and gain the access from there. Most people, I feel, do not want the responsibility of being healed, because there's a responsibility that comes when you no longer have any excuses. Once you become an adult, people are like, oh, no, them were childish ways. You got to write that off. You don't have that excuse anymore. The accountability makes you responsible, and most people don't want to be responsible for what happens when they're healed. What happens when you no longer have the excuse of your father not being there? You're too grown for that now. What happens when you no longer have the excuse of who left you and what relationship was bad and who stole from you? What happens when you have to take accountability and say, this is where I am right now, this is where I feel like I should be, and this is where I want to go? When do you take responsibility for that?
I'm loving this, man. I'm not cutting you off. You can keep talking because
No,
I like
I'm
something.
done, brother.
I like,
I'm done on that point.
but,
I
but
did some
hold
writing.
on.
I've been learning from you, brother.
Beautiful Jay, go ahead. I'm not going. I didn't know if you wanted to respond to anything on that.
No, I'm listening. It's good. He doing good.
I like the point what you really just pulled out of this above all and everything else, which has been said, but directly said the way you just said it was simply saying that it's the avoidance of responsibility. It's the avoidance of accountability. So people understand there is a difference between being a victim and self-victimization. You understand? One is a choice, you understand? One, you don't have a choice in. That is the simplest way of saying it. An accident, you don't have a choice in. And even in some situations, being a victim, you may try to fight off an aggressor. If you got jumped, you got beat up, you've got taken advantage of. You may try to, it's not accepting it. You understand? The victim is the point when you say, oh, just whatever happens, I'm not gonna deal with it. Hell, even to the point where I recall seeing situations where even if you watch footage and reels from media, where a person will create a situation themselves and then make themselves out to be the victim of a situation they created. You
Mhm.
understand? And that right there, I think is one of the biggest points that we have to draw, a little bit more attention on, as in how many of you all that are listening today, you understand, are going to choose to be the victim or continue to be a victim. It's just like going to work, you understand, and you're probably the most horrible person at work, and you don't understand why people treat you so badly.
Mhm.
It's because of that little nasty attitude you have, which you could change at any moment, or you could change the way you treat people. And yet, you again are the victim.
But what would be easier though, brother CD, is to say, oh, they don't like me up there. They're
Come on.
jealous of me up there, right? That's easier because it takes the responsibility off of me. It takes the accountability off of me. And now I'm reacting to what you've already given me. So now because you don't like me, that's the reason I have an attitude. When in all actuality, everybody else that's ever met you said you had a poor attitude. They just like something about you that was like, I know you're a good person, but your attitude stinks. You're always the Debbie Downer. You're always the one catastrophizing. Well, this could happen, and this could happen, and this could, yeah, I get it. I get that all of that could happen, but it might not. Matter of fact, if you don't mind, brother, I'm a huge Jay-Z fan, right? Huge Jay-Z fan. We share the same birthday. And he has a song called So Ambitious with Pharrell, where he says, I had to lace up my boots even harder. Father is too far away to father, and further, more are the kids either smoke reefer or either move white. There's few writers in my cipher. So they made light of my type of dream seem dumb. They said, wise up. How many guys are you see making it from here? The world don't like us. Is that not clear? All right, but I'm different. I can't base what I'm going to be off of what everybody isn't. That is the key part. I can't base what I'm going to be off of what everybody else isn't. People around you in your environment will tell you, hey, look, don't go after that dream of being a writer, man. You know how hard it is to get a book out there? Do you know how hard it is to get your clothing label off? Do you know how hard it is? Yeah, that's true. But I'm different. There's something about me that's different from you. Well, I wouldn't do that if I was you. I'm glad you're not me because I'm going to do it. I'm at least going to try it. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of times that takes us being willing to have that courage to step out on our own faith and say, okay, you know what? On the other side of whatever it is that I've been going through, there's something greater. And I'm ready to take on the challenge of whatever it is that's greater. It's familiar here. It's familiar being a victim. I can lay in the hospital bed all day. It's familiar. You feel me? My parents were in the same situation, so I don't feel so bad because I always saw victimization when I was coming up. But now I'm an adult. And I have my own children, and I'm teaching my children to be victims. I'm teaching them, instead of being on the mountain and crying about the fact that you dangling from the side of this mountain, let's go ahead and fix this. And then what did he say afterwards? He said, let's go. Continue mission. In the military, we would say continue mission. Charlie Mike. You feel me?
I like you use that clip because if you probably in the last segment, I believe that is something I touched on, was the point of how people get into a situation where you're climbing the mountain and you only got two options when you're climbing the mountain. That's to look up and to look down. And you have to make a decision there as to which is more important to you in that particular situation. Now, another thing I loved is, hold on, but beautiful Jay, did you want to? Because I got something to
It's
say.
so much. It's so much. It's so much. I'm trying to think of which one I'm gonna place in here. So yeah, I'm okay. Let me jump in there from accountability. So I'm really big on accountability. I think that you can't be really successful and stuff unless you use your own accountability. So we was looking at the fact of victim. So a victim can be perhaps no choice, but then self victimization is a choice. So we looked at the both of them there. I like how you were saying, like, some people say they had something from childhood and then they do the same thing to their kids. So, we got to come up out of that. We got to get that accountability and we got to make some changes. You know what I mean? Like you said, looking up, you got up or down. Which way am I going to go? Am I going to continue to make me, my kids, everything going to victimization? You know what I mean? Because look, that's like slavery. If we stop here, well, no, we ain't gonna go with that one. We ain't gonna go with that one. Let's just go ahead and continue with, why? You got a choice. So again, catch it, check it, change it. So I can continue to feel sorry for myself and not have no progress. So take the accountability and change the situation. You know what I mean? Stop playing the victim. Yes, you had a bad circumstance, but you still have a choice. And even if you fall down, let's say that you have a whole bunch of bad things happen in your life. So you continue to say, oh, you know what? That's going to be bad too, because that was bad. No, you can catch, check, and change and make a change inside of your life. You know what I mean? And stop. It's not how you fall, it's how you get up. So we can choose not to continue with this. You know what I mean? So,
I first of all, let me draw something to what Tater Tot said right there. Hot Tater Tot. Hot Tater Tot made point of something also. Generational curses. Imagine if you grew up in an environment where you saw this and you took on that trait and became, you understand what you saw in your environment. And that's being the victim. That's playing the victim. I also have to continue with the Jay-Z song because there were some points that if you all were listening, now I understand sometimes people can't catch on to the rap, but I'm 52. I'm 52, and you don't really hear me playing it, but if you're listening, you hear it. This is what I talk about when I talk about music. Sometimes you understand we listen so much and get caught up with the music that we miss the words. And the words are the message, not the music. The music is the part that makes your body move unless you enjoy it and feel good. But if you listen to the words, you may be getting a message. And one of the things is that he said was the father is too far to follow. If you caught that, you understand he's talking about the absence of his father. Now, if you want to dig a little deeper and go into it, he talked about that there weren't very many writers in his cipher either. So what that is implying to me is that, you may have hopes, you may have dreams, you may have desires in life, but what it is that people may want you to look or feel crazy, you understand, because of your hopes and dreams and say, oh no, that's too far-fetched for you to think you're going to reach that. But all I'm gonna say is look at Jay-Z today. People, he chose not to be a victim. And understand, he saw a situation in life evidently growing up where he could have been the victim. But the point is, he chose not to be. He continues to choose not to be. And that's even in the lyrics of a song that's right there that he just uh, should I say, quoted for us. And at the same time, we have to learn to listen. So get off the music, get off the beat sometimes, and really pay attention to the message.
Yes, yes. There is another song again by Jay-Z and Beyonce on their Carter's album, right? I I think it's called Nice. Yeah, the name of the song is Nice, where Jay-Z opens up and he says, "What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? I have no fear of anything, do everything well. I have no fear of jail. I was born in the trap. I have no fear of death. We all born to do that." I use that during the training because we held a program here in Houston teaching slabs to a lot of the juvenile detention students, right? So we brought students out of the juvenile detention center and gave them 5 trades under their belt using something that they already love, which was the Houston slab, which is the type of car that we drive that's customized, right? So my opening every morning was that song and that verse. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? I have no fear of anything, do everything well. I have no fear of jail. I was born in the trap. That means if you were born in this situation, you need to be able to move yourself out of this situation. Don't let that, I was born in the hood, I was born ghetto, so I gotta keep that. I gotta represent for my hood. Okay, cool. But understand, when you were taking those chances and you were in that situation, it's going to take you taking those same chances to get out of it. So be willing to relieve yourself of that fear. I have no fear of death. We all born to do that. I'm not even worried about you killing me because I'm going to continue on this track until it kills me. My grandfather, God rest his soul, died at 98. And his favorite saying was, "Whatever doesn't kill me will keep trying."
All right.
Whatever doesn't kill me will keep trying. So that's the stock that I'm bred from. You know what I mean? Of that resilience of just sometimes you got to be able to make yourself out of it. You got to motivate yourself to get out of it. We say in the military, false motivation becomes real motivation if you do it long enough. If you just wake up and be like, you know what, forget it, I'm going to smile for no reason. I'm depressed inside, but I'm going to smile for no reason. That's how you get yourself out of the depression. You know what I mean? My apologies, brother CD.
Oh, no. You're fine. You're totally fine. Let me say this, people. I'm going to take a quick moment just to say welcome once again. Welcome to another episode of Morning Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream. As you see, my wonderful and beautiful co-host right there. There she goes. She just came back. None other than Top Badge, Beautiful Jay, and our guest on the show as well, Morning Coffee. What are we talking about? We're simply talking about self-victimization. And coming from the quote, a quote by Bob Marley, which there are 2 variations of it. There's one with a slight wording difference by Edith Ever, but the one by Bob Marley is the one that I wanted to go with. And it's the hardest prison to escape is your mind. The hardest prison to escape is your mind. And before we really get into the breakdown, we're about to get into the breakdown. So stay tuned. We're about to do this a little, add a little bit more to it because now we're about to get into the real breakdown of what we're talking about. Yeah, we've been talking about it, but we're going to break it down a little bit more for you. So as I said, we're talking about the self-victimization and we want to get into the key points and so forth. So now let's move into a little bit more of the breakdown. Let me ask this. Because you're bringing some really good points up here, Morning Coffee. And let me ask you this. What would you say are some of the cons you understand of a person that sits in the seat where they victimize themselves?
The cons of it? Well, first of all, the longer you're a victim, the less time you spend as a victor, right? So the longer you sit back and you say, I want to not even want to, because let me address something if I may. Even during my time of self-loathing, right? It wasn't that I wanted to be there. It was only that it was familiar. You see what I'm saying? It literally took less effort for me to be depressed than it took for me to make myself happy. So the laziness within me was more what it was than anything. The self-laziness that I had built up of saying, I'm going to give my energy to everything else except for me. That laziness within myself wouldn't allow me to make the steps that it took to be able to say, okay, you know what? I can push myself out of this. You know, the amount of energy. So that's one thing. You become lazy and lackadaisical. Then you start to realize that certain parts of your life are lacking. Maybe you're not keeping relationships as long as you would like to. maybe the relationships that you have to have, such as those with your children or maybe with your parents, maybe they start to fall off. Maybe you're in a position at work and you know that you're qualified to do more, but for some reason you stayed at that same level for the last 5 years and they haven't even mentioned a promotion to you at all. You start to notice that I'm staying stagnant, and anything that stays still is dead. Think about it.
I got you.
A key sign to it, and that is I think one of the cons to it is death.
Beautiful Jay.
Man, that was just tight right there, you know? I really love that fact about staying stagnant and it's self-love. Yeah. I mean, like for us in military, I know, or any job, period, when you worried about being stagnant, have you did everything that you need to do to get promoted? You know what I mean? Let's not just assume because we're good workers that we automatically going to be promoted. You know what I mean? So when people sit up here and worries me, they giving it to everybody. And I mean, that you do more stuff. Because you know, in the military, we ain't got that. We going to go out there do that extra 200% because we got to be better than the next person. We got to do more than what we was already doing. So that's also what person victimize themselves and make them think that, oh, wow, they didn't give it to me. Did you do more? Did you go over and beyond? Don't make yourself a victim on stuff that's not need to be a victim too. That's what I'm looking at.
Oh, I see some of this stuff I'm just gonna have to save because we're gonna talk about this towards the end. I can't use it right now, but the point of it is, I really have to draw fact to again choice. You understand versus circumstances or just the situations of life in which sometimes we do not have control. I think control is one of the biggest things that we identify with every day. We want control, but when we don't have control or feel like we don't have control or think that we don't have control, what do? We throw in a towel, we give up. In some instances, being that victim, you understand, when you self victimize, you have in a sense just thrown in a towel and say you want to quit, as opposed to being a fighter. The video that he showed earlier is a prime example of someone, you understand, that could have been allowed to be a victim, but because of having the right mentor in life, sometimes having the right life coach, you understand, having yourself surrounded by the right people that elevate you, as opposed to allowing you to sit in your situation and be okay with it. And that's a prime example of what that clip showed to me. Now, let me show you something else, because there was a naysayer. And when you see videos like that, you have to draw context clues out. This person right here is the life coach, the mentor, the father. This person over here, you understand, is the hating friend, is the person that's not in benefit of you, the person that does not support you. So they're going to tell you everything that can go wrong. And the person at the top is the person that's going to tell you what needs to be done to get to the top. So you choose whether you're going to sit right there in limbo and nothing happened good as you're waiting on the Calvary. I believe as Moor'ning Coffee said, the magical Calvary will appear, or you can hang there long enough to where nothing happens and you possibly fall. Even to, I have to use this one if I don't use anything else. If you're not moving, you're dead. Because had the young man, or that person, you understand, sat there long enough, didn't try to climb, didn't try to go up or down, hey, if there was no Calvary, that would have been the result in the end. All right, all right. So let's hop over now. The question was, of course, the first one was, what are some of the cons in the sense of allowing yourself to be the victim? And when you're the victim, sometimes you're limiting yourself. Now I ask the question, what are some of the pros of not limiting yourself or being the victim or victimized, the self-victim?
Okay, so like the pros, of course, is that you can move on over and beyond. You can succeed at things. So when you stop putting yourself down, you can be able to elevate. You know, you can be able to improve your mental health. You know, because if you stay downwards, then you just keep going here. But now, if you say I'm not a victim anymore, you just gonna keep empowering yourself. So I think empowerment is one of the greatest things that you can do with as a pro from not allowing yourself to be a victim.
Oh,
Elevation.
I like that. The empowerment. Morning coffee.
I mean, I feel like Beautiful Jay definitely said it. Um, just imagine what's on the other side. That's a big thing for me. So for those of us in the military, you know, once you rappel, right? Once you're going up and down the tower, or you've already outside of the helicopter, you're in that limbo, right? You're right there in the middle. Now it's the same distance to go up as it is to come down.
Right.
So a lot of times when we get stuck into that victim mentality, we're in limbo. Do we go up or do we go down? Right? It's going to take the same energy one way or the other. It's still going to take the same amount of energy. Gravity can pull you down, but the repercussions of falling too fast are a lot harder than the amount of energy it may take you to get up and get over the hill. But what you see is going to be so much better. Your view changes when you allow yourself not to be a victim and say, okay, you know what? These things are in my benefit right now in this circumstance, right? Find the things in your circumstance that are in your benefit. Okay, so I'm going to utilize these not so that I can continue to get a sympathy card, but so that I can use this one opportunity to get sympathy to make my way out of it. What's that movie with Tyler Perry, and he had like a hotel, I think it was like a hotel or a business or something like that. And there was a lady that had to bring her kid. She kept bringing her kid to the, I can't remember the movie.
I know what you're talking about.
But that was her being willing to, hey, look, I've got to do what I've got to do to get out of this situation. It's difficult. It's hard right now. But she continued on. She could have easily have been like, man, forget it. I'm done. We poor. There's no way for us to be able to move forward. I'm not making enough. But she would have never seen the other side of it. So that's the major benefit. The change on the other side is so much better. I'm a much better person today than I was 10 years ago. I'll tell you that.
I like, you know what? That is the thing too, is acknowledging your personal growth. And sometimes it makes you wonder if you understand people, they don't want growth because again, we go back into responsibility. And if people don't want responsibility, they don't have to deal with that growth. But let me draw more clear to the facts that the points that I say that you and Beautiful Jay brought out. And one is, you know, success. The point that you've got, you can get better, you can achieve some things. And I guess the talk point of my day will be, you know, of course, Jay-Z and your song this morning and the video clip. And I guess everything that we're talking about. How about this? Beautiful Jay, can you show us a little bit of what you got going on behind you right there?
Oh, you want to see? Okay. Yeah. So I'm out here in St. Martin. In St. Martin right now. And of course, you know, I'm bringing y'all with me. Every time I go somewhere, I bring y'all with me. But I'm just trying to relax and enjoy. But you know, I got to be up here on our show because he's important. We got to be able to talk to y'all. Y'all my family, y'all. Y'all my tag family. Very important to me.
So imagine a person, you understand, that has never been on a trip or a vacation because one, they never planned for it. Two, they never took the initiative to see how much a trip or vacation may cost. However, instead, they've seen on social media that it looks so glamorous and whatever, you understand, that they give up. They be like, oh no, I can't do that. I can't afford that. That to me is making yourself, you understand, a victim of society, a victim of life, is because you chose not to even make an attempt. And that is the problem sometimes. People accept in their life not making attempts, not even trying. And what you may find out in trying sometimes is that you can. Just by trying, making an attempt, putting forth the effort that you can.
So,
Now, before we get close to the end and summarize, we got about another 11 minutes. Beautiful Jay, was there any more that you want to add? I love the fact that she has that, you know, showing that today, especially the waterfront. We see a bit of the mountains, we see the water line, a little bit of everything going out there. So that's pretty awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, and well, I like what you're saying about that whole thing. So again, we're trying to move away from and elevate from being a victim and look at all these things. I mean, like imagine me being from LA. Well, my dad did pretty well. My mom ended up having a fall. If I stayed in that victim mentality, I would have never been the overachiever I am today to continue to elevate. You know what I mean? Um, and it's okay. Some people they even say stuff and try to make you feel bad about being an overachiever too. They be like, "Oh, you just think you that. You think you all that." Yes, I do. I do think I am all that because I work hard. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, you got to be able just to continue to elevate yourself and don't let nobody put you down with that. As I was growing up, I spoke very proper. So they call me, "Hey, white girl." I mean, I can surf, but I got 16 surfboards. But the thing about it is, people just sit there and they beat you down so much. I mean, I've looked at education as being, yeah, they try to beat me down. You too smart. No, we got to just keep doing stuff. It's not just the college education; it's also the education in life. You know what I mean? We just got to keep elevating ourselves. We got to keep making ourselves feel better and to love us. And if you don't love yourself, then why do you think somebody else gonna love you? That's the biggest elevation I think that you need is to learn to love you. You know what I mean? So yeah, if you stand in the victim mindset, that's because you chose to. Don't get mad because somebody talk you down. Did you accept it? Because you ain't got to accept what people tell you. You got a choice. So stop playing the victim. Period.
All right. All right. Morning coffee. You heard beautiful Jay.
I heard it, man. I felt it. I felt it through the screen. That period was meant, you know. I will say this though, as we were talking just now, I think that a major trap that we fall into is thinking that we have to keep up with the Joneses, right? Because in understanding loving yourself, your version of a vacation may not be what social media's acceptance is of a vacation. You feel what I'm saying? For instance, we had a conversation in my live the other day about people spending their hard-earned money to go to Miami, and Miami is right here in the US, but you don't have a passport, right? So you could spend less, get a passport, and go overseas and go see something completely different, right? But also, people don't take the opportunities to go to the cabin that's at the nearest lake that's right there in their city, right? To be able to see something different, be able to go see there's a place here in Houston where they have the Airbnb set up to where it's like treetop cabins. So everything is like, and it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Those things are right there in your city, right there in the town that you're in. You don't even have to leave outside of your state or anything else to go and get that relaxing vacation because it's just a separation from the life that you live. But if your only measurement of a vacation, you understand, comes from Miami or comes from going to Turks and Caicos, or because I'm not on vacation or I don't have that. You gotta, yes, Thousand Trails. You've got a beautiful, beautiful landscapes that you can see right there where you are. That could be your vacation. If you're loving on yourself, don't limit yourself to other people's view of what success looks like for you. Success may not look the same for you. Your success may be, you know what, I got out of bed today. And when I got out of bed, I wasn't in a bad mood. That's my first success of the day. My first success of the day is I got out of bed and I didn't feel groggy. My first success of the day may be that I got up and I was able to, thank you, I was able to put my clothes on and I didn't feel bad because it's cold as I don't know what out here in Houston and I've got a couple broken bones. So you know what, I'm just being honest. At 36, it is what it is. So I know my grandmothers were, and were talking about with arthritis and all that. Success may be for me just, hey, look, I woke up and I'm on Brother CD Tate's show, you know what I'm saying? We can sit down and have a conversation. I've got somebody to talk to. That could be my success every day. But if I don't value the small things, I will never, as a great friend of mine always says, small things make tall things. If I don't value the small things, the tall things will never come. So start with that. Start with seeing the value in everything in your situation, your current situation.
I'm loving it.
I agree with that right there. That whole staycation is awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like, make a vacation in your mind. Sometimes you just need to get away from work and even your own people and just stay in a house because, you know, I RV. So when I RV, I love being in the lake. I like my little downside situation up in there. You know, vacation your mind, just having some freedom and some space can be a vacation. So I agree with you on that.
Look, I'm gonna agree with you too. I'm gonna agree with both of you because I, I have to admit, you have to get away, and I think this is the thing. And I say this to people, and I'm gonna repeat it to you time and time again. Listen, if you base so much of your life around what you see somewhere else, and I'm going to say for the most of you, I think there are so many people that spend so much time on social media that they are the zombies. They're no longer alive, you know, mentally and or psychologically. You have become such a follower that all that you base life on social media as opposed to real life experience. And to me, when you begin to do that, you are that, ooh, some things I hate to say, but I think people need to hear it sometimes, and that's a flunky. If you don't want to be a flunky in life, and I won't call you a failure, but if you don't want to be a flunky or just a follower in life, step away from social media sometimes. It's okay. But remember, it started out as entertainment. And if entertainment has become your life, then you're not living in the real world because you're living in entertainment. And that's the thing that we have to understand. Let me draw a few points from the things that were shared here this morning. So, we talked about the pros and we talked about the cons. And let me draw, first of all, with sometimes people stay in situations, even being a victim, because they're familiar with it. This is what I grew up with. This is where I'm from. This is how my grandmother was, or this is what my granddad, you understand, my mom. And this is where you live, again, not taking accountability or responsibility for you. In some ways, it could be perceived as lazy because you make no choices, you make no plans. You just go off of what you've seen and what's been around you. It's your environment. Now, I'm gonna continue about that because this word environment is gonna come up again. Also, one point that was made was if you're not moving, if you're not doing anything, I think the word he said was dead. To me, that's being void and without life because you're stagnant. You do nothing. There is no life in you. And sometimes that's what people tell you. You're so lifeless. You have no life. Get a life. Listen to that. Now, if I were to go to the cons, you understand. I would use that word environment again. Your environment is a choice. Unless you're incarcerated, you understand, because of something that transpired or whatever. But if you're not, you understand. You've got to free your mind. Again, the hardest prison to escape is your mind. It starts right here. Some of you are out here every day in society and could enjoy a little bit more, but you make a decision not to. Success, you understand, comes with making those choices and decisions. Success, you get better along the way. You get to enjoy, but most importantly, I think Beautiful Jay said there is a certain level of empowerment that comes with making those decisions. I'm going to say this, people, in our last minute, have a plan. First of all, get a goal, identify what that goal is, create a plan for that goal. And once you create that plan for that goal, you understand, move on it. Set a date, reassess that you have everything you need, set a date and do it. But choose not to be a victim or allow yourself to be a victim today. There may be some hard life choices that some people really need to make, but I'm going to say it to you again. Write them down, look over them, and make a decision. Morning Coffee, I appreciate you for coming and joining us this morning. Beautiful Jay is the co-host, as always. We got 1 minute. Would you all like to say anything?
I'm just gonna say, yeah, thank you so much, Morning Coffee. I'm just so happy to be able to see my tag family. Like I said, and you said, stop, with all the self-victimization. Let's make a change in the 2024. Yeah, let's go ahead and just
Indeed.
better ourselves in all ways possible.
Morning Coffee, we'll finish up with you.
I say the exact same, Brother CD. Thank you once again, humbly. Thank you for having me as a guest on your show. Beautiful Jay, thank you so much. I love it here. That's all I can say. I love it here. I do. If we have a quick minute, I would like to show one last video, if it's okay.
All right. Officially, the show is over,
Gotcha.
but I got a minute.
Gotcha. Okay. Really, really, really quick. All right. So being a victim is a choice, and I want y'all to see that even in nature, being a victim is a choice. I'll tell you what you want to hear. You want some lessons on my longevity, but tell me the right time. That is a rabbit being chased by two foxes. So look, being a victim is a choice. All right. You have to give yourself permission to be a victim. That rabbit said, not today. So make sure that today you say not today. Continue to move forward. That's all I wanted to say.
I love that. Thank you. So, hey, once again, thank each and every one of you that are in the audience that has been a part of this stream this morning. I saw some of the comments as well. And for those that are interested in being a part of Morning Coffee, please get in my inbox, either hit me on IG, or right here. Once again, working to turn this into a feature show at some point. But right now, understand that, the people that are here, that are in the boxes, have already been preset, discussed and all the above. It's not, should I say, open forum at that point. But we will not ignore, understand, your comments below, definitely calling out some, not all. And once again, we appreciate you all being here and being a part of the show. As I said, I got a few minutes. I love a lot of what was talked about here today. I love even one of the points that you brought up, and I think Jay mentioned it. And let me see if I can find his name. He kind of touched on it, and may have wanted to get in the box. Potato Head, I think, Mr. Potato or someone. And the point that he made was one about color. And this is the one thing I'll say to each and every one of you. Do not allow color to be your prison in life. It doesn't matter if you do not, you understand. I would not say cannot. It doesn't matter if you do not achieve every goal in life that you set. It matters that if you do not set a goal. You understand? But please don't use your reason, your justification for not doing anything or becoming or achieving anything in life to simply be your color. If that were the case, some of you wouldn't have a job. If that were the case, some of you wouldn't have an education. If that were the case, some of you, understand, wouldn't be getting the degrees, the opportunities in life that you know that you have outside of this app. As a matter of fact, some of you wouldn't even be right here with a phone in your hand.
Right.
But you are. So please, sometimes learn to consider the small wins as stepping stones in order to get, bigger ones along the way.
All right, yeah, thank y'all. Tour guide coming, so we'll be looking at some tours later. But thank y'all. Talk to y'all later. Mwah.
All right. Thank you, beautiful Jay, for being here. I appreciate that. Morning. Hey, I didn't know if you had anything else you wanted to say, but the opportunity is there, man.
Brother, I think that we have fed this horse.
I love the fact that that's something you actually do as well. We get to see you doing that pretty often. Yes, so for you all that don't, if you haven't taken the time to please favor up Morning Coffee. He has times in his bio. Go check it out as far as streaming. Also, I love the fact that we get to see him sometimes because he's out, you understand, he's out on the range with the horses, and you get to see part of his routine sometimes. So by all means, favor him up.
I'm headed out. I'm headed out there in a minute. I'm gonna change clothes, of course, because this is not barn attire. But again, brother, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you being here. All right, people. Once again, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you. All right, people. And one of the things for you all to know, I will be a little bit more engaged with posting, should I say, these shows on YouTube. You may see clips on IG, but definitely on YouTube. Appreciating each and every one of you. I will be looking out for you. And as I said, if you'd like to be on the show, reach out to me. Let me know. People, until then, y'all know what I always say. Bye-bye.